So this story rings true with us though, right? Because we've all had that moment. You've had that sort of aha moment that makes you kind of resonate with it. You're not even thinking about the issue and suddenly, right? I was on Facebook this morning and one of my friends posted this thing about their insomnia-fueled realization about something. She had a eureka moment as she was trying to get to sleep, right? So these moments happen and we tell these stories to kind of confirm that they happen, but wouldn't it be better if we could figure out what triggers them? Right? Because that maybe we could turn into a process, and it turns out there is. Right? It comes from a man named Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, whose name is so cool, right, that I want you to take, if you take away nothing else, right, remember this. If you can just say, according to Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, lots of people will think you're smart. Because you know, like, and you don't even have to say it all that right. I've actually been corrected around it, because there's difference of opinion of how to say. The point is you tried, which somebody else didn't do, so now they think you're smart. Right? So according to Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, he engaged in a study of looking at some of the world's most prolifically creative people in a variety of fields. Everything from art to architecture, actually that's just the A's. Everything from art to zoology? Is there another subject with a Z? I'm not sure. And what he did was really interesting. He actually surveyed a broad spectrum of people in those fields, and he said, who are the most creative people in your field? And when they would sort of aggregate around names, then he would seek out those people as subjects. So these are the accepted, renowned creatives in the field as judged by their peers. And he asked these people all the same question, open-ended question, describe to me your creative process. And here's what he found when he looked at the similarities in everybody's answers, 70 plus people. They all sort of went through a 5-stage process. In preparation, incubation, ideation or realization, evaluation and elaboration, right? I'll simplify, right? We prepare, and then we incubate, and we have the idea, that's the aha moment. Then we have to test it, either ourselves or two people, and then we elaborate it, we send it out into the world to get feedback on it, right? What I'm most interested in is these two right here. Incubation, and then the ideation, the actual idea, right? Incubation is when, according to Csikszentmihalyi, is when you step back from the project. You're working on it for a time, right? You've already done the preparation, you're working on it for a time, and you step back, or you switch to another project. This is one of the benefits of kind of juggling multiple different things, is you might feel stressed, but every time you're working on one, you're incubating the other ones. And we don't actually know what goes on in the sort of subconscious mind when you're incubating around an idea. There's 4 or 5 different theories. The one I like the most is actually called selective forgetting. Essentially, if you've ever worked on a problem and you keep thinking of the same answer that you already know is wrong because you already tried it, but that's the thing you keep coming up. What incubation does is it kind of lets you forget those things, and when you approach it, you have it with this fresh mind that brings sort of new connections in. That's one theory. It's one that resonates most with me. We're still testing. We're still trying to figure out why incubation works this way. But what we do know from all of the testing is that you will have more and you will have better quality ideas if you allow yourself a period of incubation. And most of the time out of that period of incubation, you'll have that actual moment. Something in your activity, something you see will trigger a thought that triggers another thought that pulls that thought out from the back of your mind towards the front, and you've got it. This is the insomnia-fueled revelation. Or, as I like to put it, this is why, if I asked you, where do you have your best ideas, you would say, the shower. It's like the only time it's culturally appropriate to talk about bathing at work. You know, if you start any other story with, so I was in the shower this morning, you're getting a call from HR. If you end the story with, and then I had the idea, then suddenly it's all okay for some reason, right? Maybe it goes back to Archimedes in the bathtub, I don't know. Right? But this is why we say that. Now, I like that idea, that incubation, the ideas in the shower, taking a walk, those sort of things. But again, that doesn't necessarily scale very well. I can't just tell my supervisor, I need a good idea, I'm going to go home and take a shower and I'll come back. Right? I can't do that. So the lesson around incubation is, yes, this is where the aha moment comes from, but the lesson is, what can you do in your day to stage those moments, right? By definition, as long as you can switch to a different task, hopefully one that's not as cognitively demanding as the one you need the insight in, then you can be incubating in that area while you're still working. Right? So what I do, and I think this is funny because I didn't write about this in the first book, and then I wrote a whole chapter about how much I hate it in the second book. What I do is I use email for this. Let's be honest. most email is not exactly cognitively demanding, right? You're replied all into a stream of stuff and you just need one little thing, and so you scroll through and you find the one little thing, right? Or you've got a bunch of things you need to reply to, but they're all about to see attached, sounds great, et cetera, right? If this sounds familiar, then you might want to steal this idea. If it doesn't, you're going to have to pick a different one. But I learned over time that those things weren't as cognitively demanding as the work that I have to do writing, creating, researching, those sort of things. And so I turned off push notifications, I turned off the automatic checking, all of those sort of things. My email doesn't check me anymore, I actually get to check it, right? And I only check it when I need those insights. So I'll go to work in the morning, I'll do that big thing, right? And when I'm stuck, I'll go to my email box and I'll incubate for a little while and then I'll come back. And it's enough, and the research supports this. As little as 5 minutes of switching to a different task, when you get back to the one you were working on, you have fresh eyes, a new mind, you'll have more and better ideas for it. So what is that thing in your workday that's not as cognitive demanding of other things, but you can be productive even while you're incubating? I mean, if you can go sit under an apple tree, go for it. But I don't think most of us could get away with that with our supervisors. So what is that thing that you can do that still is productive, that still, to abuse football analogies, moves the ball down the field, but does not necessarily require that huge insight? Right? So this is the lesson of the Eureka myth. This is the lesson of incubation.